Welcome to r/Tales from Tech Support, where we get to have a little chuckle at the technologically disadvantaged. Like me. I'm Uncle Reddit, and have I got a story for you. Well, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. The other day I was talking to you guys about the piles of tech that I had laying around, and I know it's pretty mild compared to what some of you guys have as far as collections of old cables, peripherals, whatever. But today I was messing with this thing. I was messing with my computer. Now this is an off-the-rack, inexpensive gaming PC. It's a cyber power PC. I know a lot of guys online who are really into gaming poo-poo them, but I don't game. I do edit video and audio, and something with a dedicated graphics card like this GeForce, you know, it's got enough of its own RAM and processing capabilities that I don't get the lag and stutter and things like that on here. So, but anyway, I noticed that it was running a little warm, like not super hot, but just a little higher than I'd like. I think it was idling right around 55 to 60 Celsius. And, you know, when nothing's going on in here, I feel like it should be idling a little lower. Today, when I was messing around, I was adding another hard drive to the system so that I can do a mirrored backup and things like that, and do a hard drive clone, Windows clone. I was looking at these two fans right here, and I noticed something strange, that these two case fans and that case fan right there, that's the processor, that case fan on the back and these two were all blowing out. I had negative case pressure. In theory, there are people who run their systems that way, but old school me, my brain said, hell no. Come on to the no. So I took everything apart today when I was doing cable management, and like I said, putting another hard drive down below in the basement there, and I flipped these two fans around so that they were drawing cool air in. This is my intake side, and left that one drawing air out. So just a tip for you guys, if you buy a pre-built anything, go over it. Don't be afraid to, like, you know, pop the cover and take a look at everything. Just a little tip from Uncle Reddit there, guys. If you get a pre-built anything, look it over. Doesn't hurt. Check your connections. Okay, that's enough rambling. Let's read some stories. PhD student versus technician. I'm a last year PhD student working with bioinformatics. Wow. So of course, since the word informatics is in there, I also unknowingly became the lab's IT support over the years. Cannot run a command line program? Sure, I'll help. Translation. Google the error message. Oh, a pandemic hit us and now we need to access every computer remotely? I guess I'm the only one who knows how to Google for that too. Need to image Linux or Windows machine? VPN not connecting? Hey, have you guys tried turning it off and on again? Backstory to this post. Last year our department bought a very expensive microscope. At first we placed it in our lab as an immediate solution, but since it was meant to be shared by the entire department, it eventually had to be moved to a shared room. The microscope can be remotely controlled by the company's software, which needs to be individually installed by their technician in every machine we intend to use. So our plan was to move the microscope to the shared room along with a desktop computer to control it. Naturally, the company's technician would install the software, set up the connection between the microscope and computer, and test that everything works properly in the new room. Cue to this week's incident. We are me, that's me. Tech, the company's technician. Postdoc, the lab's postdoc who was accompanying Tech during his job. PI, the lab's PI, principal investigator, aka the boss. Prior to Tech's visit, I imaged a desktop computer that was lying around in the lab. I set up its remote access, set it to wake after power outage, all that good stuff. I explained to Postdoc and Pi that I was basically ready to install the microscope software and be moved to the new room. I asked them to let me know when Tech would come so that I could be there to help if needed. My research can be done remotely, so I'm not every day in the lab. Of course they didn't do it. I'm at home finishing my research for the day when at 5 p.m. I get a message from Pi. Hey me, Postdoc and Tech are struggling to make the computer work in the new room. Can you help them? Cheers. Against my better judgment, I send Postdoc a message and ask, what's up? Here's how it goes. Me, hey Postdoc, Pi said you were having some trouble. Is the computer working? Postdoc, hi me, yeah, everything's working fine. Tech installed the software and set up the connection to the microscope, but then we moved the computer to the new room and now it's not turning on. We tried a lot of stuff and don't know what's up. So we go through some troubleshooting steps. Are the cords plugged on the wall? Are the LEDs on? Does the monitor turn on? Are the cables properly connected? Have you tried every port? Etc. Postdoc, yeah, we tried everything. The monitor's fine. It just has no signal. Our guess is that the PSU is dead. We first connected it to a 110 volt outlet and it was set to 220 volts, so maybe that's what caused it? Brief explanation. In my country, both 110 and 220 outlets are common, even in regular houses. And yes, it's as messy as it sounds. Some devices only work at a given voltage, and some devices can automatically transform from 110 to 220 volt, and some have a manual switch for this. The computer fits in this last case. Now, what Postdoc did was bad, but connecting 220 volt devices to 110 volt outlets shouldn't in theory nuke the PSU. Not as bad as the other way around, anyway. Postdoc. Tech even took it back to the old room, plugged it in the 220 volt outlet that it was previously connected to, and nothing happened. So yeah, we're pretty sure it's the PSU. At this point, it was almost 6 p.m. and Tech was heading out. In my head, I wasn't really buying the PSU thing, but I couldn't figure out the root cause without going to the lab and seeing for myself. Me. Okay, I can go to the lab in a few days, then I'll check it out. Worst case scenario, I take it to a repair shop. Postdoc. Okay, thanks, me. A few days later, I take the 50-minute drive to the lab. If the issue was really with the PSU, I was kind of pissed that Tech apparently borked it, but whatever, let's see what's up. I get to the lab, put my stuff on the desk, and immediately go check on the computer. Surprisingly, I hear a faint whizzing coming from the case. Wait, is the computer turned on? I check the monitor, and as Postdoc said, it's on but has no signal. I gaze back at the case, then into the case, through the transparent acrylic casing, and then it hit me. Cue palm meeting face. I move towards the back of the case, unplug the VGA cable from the motherboard port, and plug it back into the video card port. Lo and behold, after 30 seconds of troubleshooting, I'm met by inspiring images of Windows landscapes in the monitor. I send a picture of the working desktop to Pi and write, "I'll send you my rates later by email." Just joking, of course, but maybe. Now, if I had a ticket system, I'd go with, "Tech is defective, replacement needed." As for Postdoc, their words echoed in my head. "We tried every port." Huh. Turns out users do lie. Down in the comments, msoda24, is that Minnesota? I wish I could just insert the appropriate image, the classic tech support one that states, "You have 3 PhDs, that's great. Try clicking forgot password for me." I'll tell you, changing those fans around has really quieted this thing down. It's still louder than I'd like, but I mean, I can't complain too loud. It's 6 inches from the boom arm of my mic here, so And for those of you complaining, Mr. Moose is back. What does that say exactly? Back when I was network supervisor manager for South Korean shipping company, I was at my first regional IT meeting where the high mucky muck from HQ came to give us a speech. He announced to all present that as English was the language used around the world in the shipping industry, everything in the company would be done in English, as in the computer operating systems, etc. Fast forward a year or two and I had come back from a holiday to find all Korean managers of the separate office functions, finance, sales, etc. have acquired and installed the Korean version of Windows on the machines they use. I'm still responsible for maintaining those machines despite the fact every icon now has Korean text under it saying what it is. Luckily, unless they have happened to change the icon to something else, Microsoft has the same icons across the various languages. Now whenever there's an error message or problem pop up, I need to have the Korean manager try to translate the Korean text into English. Imagine a driver telling the mechanic the error message says the engine will not run. What it really means is the engine won't run as it's out of fuel. Some fixes require a great deal of thinking about why the error is occurring. Oh, hell no. Listen, if I was an English-speaking tech, and if everybody else in the company was Korean, and they wanted it all Korean, they needed to hire a Korean tech or somebody that knows Korean fluently enough to be able to work on these machines. Yeah, that's not good. I understand where the company was coming from, but if most of your labor base over there is Korean, I think it kind of needs to stay in Korean. Let me know what you guys think down below. I mean, I know there's no 100% great solution, no catch-all for everything, but it would be easier if, most of your company's in Korea to have them all working and speak Korean, and then have a small subset of your company that deals with English-speaking countries separately. And then there can be some translation in between, but I just think it's a mess going the other way. My computer won't power on. I wonder why. I've been working in the IT world for about 9 years now, so I have plenty of stories like this, but this one is more recent. I got a desktop tower that the customer stated wouldn't turn on. The first thing I do is plug it in and turn it on. Nothing happens. So now I open it up and dear God, the amount of smoke damage, roaches, and corrosion in this thing was enough to make me gag. I noped out of that one, got some pictures of all the damage, per company policy, tagged it and bagged it, sent it back to the customer stating that this is a biohazard and we're refusing work. Honestly, with the amount of crap in the computer, I would hate to see their house. I mean, I consider myself messy, but my computer never gets even close to that bad. Oh, P, you should have attached some pictures with that. I've worked in some environments before where people were heavy smokers. I've worked on computers in those houses, nasty. I've worked on painting in those houses, like painting walls, nasty. You got to clean everything. You have to wipe it all down before you can even touch anything. Been in houses where the smell of cat pee was so bad, your eyes watered before you even knocked on the door. And their computers smelled like a litter box. So yeah, I'm kind of glad I'm done dealing with people in their houses, really. Monochrome is just a state of mind. This happened today when a call comes in on our emergency weekend support line. And the way ours works is we have a third-party answering service that fields the call. It kind of works like this. User calls in. Call center answers. Call center emails me the details. This is important as I usually get to see the issue before even talking to the user. Subject line reads, user can't print in color. Good luck with this one. Uh-oh. When the call center drops the formalities, you're in for a rough time. I call the user, and once they answer, I start the usual shtick. Hello, this is OP with company name, and yeah, I know who this is and know why you're calling. Are you going to fix the problem or not? Pleasant start, I know. Sure thing. Let me hop onto your computer and see what we can do to get you printing. While I'm connecting, this user launches into a tirade of, I've been troubleshooting this for 2 hours, and I need to print color for a big presentation on Monday, and it's a brand new printer that just got installed on Wednesday, so it should be working fine. Yelling and screaming with the ferocity of a rabid dog. I connect to his computer, check the printer and printers and devices, grab the model number, and plug it into Google. First link is for the printer's manual, as well as a brief description of the printer. While the manual was loading up, the user was still barking at me about how he had read every line in the manual, and how there was nothing in there to fix the problem, and how I was just wasting his time. Well, the manual finally loads, and there, staring us right in the face, was the line, Premium Monochrome Printer. Now you would think highlighting the word monochrome would be enough to make the user understand, but no. Because they followed that up with, that's unacceptable, I need color printing. I understand, unfortunately it's a monochrome printer, so it can only print black and white. A harsh huff and exhausted sigh comes over the phone. I know what monochrome means. Fix it, make it print color. I pause, not sure how to continue. I can't, it's a monochrome printer. I can't make it print color, it has no color in it. You'll need to talk to your manager to see about replacing it with a color printer, or to see about getting access to another color printer at the office you can print to. If your manager gives us permission to add you to another printer, I can. Another exasperated, drawn-out sigh cuts me off. Yeah, whatever, thanks. The satisfying click of the phone ended the conversation. After that, I closed the ticket with the simple line, user was attempting to print a color document to monochrome printer. Updated the print server entry to have B/W at the end of the printer name to avoid other calls about the same issue, and moved on to the next emergency weekend problem. I don't know. Even back in my dumbest of dumb tech days when I knew absolutely nothing, I think I could still figure out that, if I'm trying to print a color document to a monochrome printer, that I was going to get black and white or grayscale at best. The March of Progress. Seeing a post about Novell NetWare reminded me of something that happened getting on for 20 years ago. As happens in large companies, they get consultants in. They decided that our perfectly serviceable, ultra-reliable Novell NetWare system needed upgrading to Windows NT. This was very expensive, involving buying 6 new high-end servers to replace the old Novell ones, sending us all on training courses and gradually migrating all the data and systems onto the new servers. Finally, it got to the weekend of the big changeover, where we would actually take the Novell servers offline. We had a representative from every department to check everything was working, and hey, presto, job's a good 'un. Come Monday morning, I'm in early just to be on the safe side. Walk into the office and the phone's ringing. I answered it to a panicked, our systems are completely down, help! So I nipped upstairs to take a look. This system is unrelated to ours apart from piggybacking on our network. It connected about a dozen terminals to an off-site mainframe they ran time on. One call to the mainframe company tech support had them as puzzled as us. It had occurred to me this time that it was a rather large coincidence that this failure coincided with the switching off of the Novell servers. So I slipped down to the server room and switched one of them back on, let it boot up and went back upstairs. Lo and behold, everything was working again. It took us ages to find out why. About a month later, I went into the server room to find an engineer from the mainframe company doing maintenance on their comms equipment. I got to chatting to him and he told me that this kit was ancient and should have been replaced years ago, but nobody wanted to pay for it. Then he said something that made my ears perk up. He said the terminals used IPX/SPX protocol rather than TCP/IP. This is what the old Novell system used, so a bit of digging later led me to discover that IPX/SPX needs a Novell NetWare server to act as a session manager. The correct solution, of course, would have been to upgrade the comms to TCP/IP, but the cheapskate company wouldn't pay, so we just left the server switched on. I can understand small companies stretching their tech dollar by leaving old equipment going and servicing it as long as possible. Individuals at home, I've done it with some of my equipment over the years. I bought this tower less than a year ago. I will run the wheels off of it. I will run this thing until it probably bursts into flames sitting right here on my desk. Now, I'll try to replace parts first, but sometimes things happen. Well, hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you like this video, do me a favor, click the one here on the screen. I think you're going to like that one too. See ya.